Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm really excited to do this because it's been a very long time, but I decided to buy a whole bunch of new peripera makeup products that are new to me. Not necessarily new for you guys, because for me, I feel like by the time I buy the products, I wait for them to ship to me, which take about like 2 to 3 weeks. By the time I arrive, by the time I upload, edit, it might be like old products for you guys, but for them, they are new for me. The way I'm going to do this video is I'm going to do a quick review of all of the products that I have purchased, and then in between, I'll show you guys demo of how they look like on me as well to create this makeup look. So I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get started. Before we fully get into the peripera makeup products, I just want to mention this brand really quickly. I'm not sponsoring anything, but they decided to send me a collection of their brush, and this is by the brand called jessup, and this one actually features 14 pieces brushes. And the reason why I really wanted to mention them is a lot of the brushes that I tend to use tend to be either Colourpop or Sigma, which both are like the brands that I always go for when it comes to brushes. So it's been a really long time since I tried like new brushes, and when I received this, I'm actually really impressed with the brushes, majority of them. So like I said, it comes in 14 pieces, ranges from like the eyes and the face. I do have ever noticed that there are a couple of brushes that I wish that they have featured in this, but obviously I'm sure they have it in other collections that they have. But I really do wish that they have one for like bronzer and also one for highlighter, because I feel like the smaller brushes for, you know, could be for highlighting is a little bit like too soft for me, and like for when it comes to like bronzer, there's no like really round fat one that I could use as like a bronzing one. But other than that, majority of these brushes, like especially the eyes one, I really like how like firm but like not too firm, because then it just really gives me like a solid pigmentation on my eyes when I do apply it. I just like the firmness and like the steadiness when I actually use these brushes. So I definitely do recommend trying the eye brushes more if you guys don't want to get this collection. But I feel like the eye brushes tend to be much better, I feel, and my favorite one is actually this one, which is like a really tiny pointy pencil liner, and I'm really super impressed with this because I always tend to lose this kind of brushes in my collection, and it's like my most used because I tend to line my eyeliner with like a brown eyeshadow on top, and this is like my favorite right now. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started with the peripera review. We're gonna start off with the base, and this one is the peripera Mood Fit Cover Cushion. Now this one actually has like 2 different versions where they compare. I got the Mood Fit Cover version, and I believe the other version is like a glow cushion. Apparently this one is much more pigmented. I think the longevity is much more longer as well, and less glowy, lean towards much more of the semi-matte. I got mine in the color number 3, which is the darkest in the collection. When I first put this on, I was very impressed how it really fit my skin color. I like that it blends really nicely. However, once it actually set, it really emphasized a lot of my dry skin areas on the forehead and especially around my nose area. And I think partially is because first I did not moisturize with like a moisturizing primer, because I wanted to see how this cushion stays on its own. In terms of the longevity, I'm not wearing it long enough to know how the longevity is like, but I definitely do feel like as a dry skin person, it's a little bit too dry and feels a little bit too heavy for me. And I feel like solely because I've only recently just tried the Hera Glow Cushion. I absolutely love that, so I can't help myself but to compare that with this peripera one. But I can definitely see how this is popular because it is actually super pigmented, like a little goes a long way, and the puff is actually really buzzy, where it just looks like, I don't know what this shape is called, but I like how comfortable it feels on my hand. It doesn't slide off, and I think this puff really does make a difference in terms of how much foundation it picks up to put on the face. Like a little do go a long way. So I definitely feel like I'll use this puff more than the cushion itself. If you guys want like an in-depth review of this, let me know. I can do like a separate video of this where I do like the laundry routine, all that kind of stuff, but I hope I summarized enough in terms of this particular peripera cushion. The Speedy D Cut Brow. I saw this from Tina Young's video when she was in Korea, and she bought like a whole bunch of stuff of Olive Young, and so she decided to give this a try. I find that this angle part is actually very interesting, and I think the way they put this angle is to show to give you that like hairline emphasis on your eyebrows, if that makes sense. But for me, I haven't achieved that. I haven't achieved that like very natural eyebrow looking kind of, you know, the trendy stuff lately, if that makes sense. So I'm still sticking to my old method of using this eyebrow pencil, and I do have to say I feel like with this particular one it's a little bit too light for me. I got mine in number 2, and I feel like it's a little bit towards of a cool tone gray. However, I really like how natural and lightweight looking this is, and it applies so easily, blends out so nicely. Every time I use this, I actually feel like I don't really put much on my eyebrows, and it just emphasizes my natural brow more, which I tend to lean towards now. So if I were to purchase this again, I will probably get much more of a dark brown looking one, because I feel like the color you see here does not match to the color you put on your eyebrows, if that makes sense. Eyeshadow, and I'm really excited for this because I've been eyeing on this for a while and I wasn't sure which color I wanted. I believe they had like 2 different colors, so I decided to get the pink version because I feel like in my collection I have a lot of brown eyeshadows. So I decided to get this pink one, and solely is because of this blush and highlighter. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I love that it has 8 different eyeshadows, then I think 2 blushes and 1 blush slash highlighter. So I really like the options that they have, the variety. This side here is much more of a lighter version, this one's much more of a darker, and for me I tend to go towards more of this side here. So currently on my eyes I'm using quite a bit of the eyeshadows on the darker side. I have tried the lighter ones before, and I do have to say they're actually quite pigmented, surprisingly, but I feel like with a lot of the lighter colors I tend to just match them with like, combine like 2 or 3 colors to get more in-depth pink color, if that makes sense. But I really like all of those colors here, and surprisingly this eyeshadow palette is actually quite lightweight, and I have a feeling it's actually very easy to actually travel around with this. And I actually ended up using quite a bit of this in this video as well, which I'll mention a bit later on. But I think for me, my favorite about this eyeshadow is probably this mauvey glitter shade here, which I'm super impressed. And what I did was I actually used one of the jessup eyeshadow brush, use this on this glitter shade and apply on my eyes to get this reflective like shimmery shade, and I'm very impressed how buttery smooth it has applied, because usually when it comes to Korean eyeshadows, when it comes to like the shimmer glitter shade, I always mention that you have to use your finger to get the pigmentation or the shine that you want, because I feel like Korean eyeshadow shimmer is not as opaque or like pigmented as like Western ones. However, with this particular set, I feel like you can actually use brush to get the look, which I'm actually very impressed. The other one I actually like as well is actually the middle part, which is the blush and highlighter, and I just like swirl around to get like this blush shade that I actually have on my face right now. I also got this Peripera Sugar Twinkle Dual Eye Stick, and I'm not sure why I decided to get this. And when I actually tried just before, I was actually surprised that it was dual, because for some reason I thought it was just one side. So one side here is actually like a orangey coral peachy shade, which I'll show you guys here. So this has like more of a rounded tip, which I believe this one you use more of like as a base of an eyeshadow, whereas the other side, which I actually really like, is much more of a pointier version. And what I did with this one, I actually used it on the inner corner of my eye, and I need to show you guys how super pigmented this is. This glides on so smoothly, it's so buttery, and it really is so pigmented, especially on the inner part. Because usually I feel like when it comes to Korean eyeliner, when it comes to lighter shade like this, which is like a white beigey shade that you want to use to like open up your eyes, most of the time It's actually not that pigmented, but this one is so creamy and it's very obvious, which I'm actually really surprised. And this one actually doesn't really have a lot of shimmer shade to it compared to the orangey side. However, it just goes on nicely with my eyes, and I feel like the combo of this with my pink eyeshadow really just combine together really nicely, and it just opened up my eyes more, which I really like. Back to the face because we're done with the eyes, and I got this Peripera V Shading number 2 Dip Brown. I do have the old packaging version, which I absolutely love. I actually bought number 3 before, but I'm not really liking how cool tone looking it is, and I know some people will use this more of like a shading, like contour shade, but for me, I actually love using the 2 as more of like a bronzer to bronze out my face, so hence why I tend to stick to the number 2 one more. And I noticed this one is actually called number 2 Cacao Brown, whereas the new one is actually called number 2 Deep Brown. I can see that a little bit of a differences now. I feel like with the old one it's much more browner, whereas the new one is much more of a neutral beige, but I wanted to stock up a new one because I'm almost hitting pan with this old formula, and I don't want to get rid, you know, I don't want to just not have it. And you know, with Korean products, I feel like sometimes there's a product where it's really popular, and then there's one point where they just don't have it anymore, so I'd rather just stock up. And with this new one, it still is really nice, like it just glide on easily, it still gives very nice color, as you can see on my face. It really, I just love this so much, like probably my best favorite bronzer in Korean products for ages, actually, probably like a couple of years now. This one is a blush, and I believe this is from a collection. I can't remember what collection, but I just think it's very cute. It says I cheer for your everyday moment, but this one is called the Peripera Pure Blush Sunshine Cheek in number 18 Shy Coral, and I think it has this coral pink or like a coral orangey, if I'm not wrong. And I was like, you know what, I'd rather get the pink one because I'm not really a coral orangey girl when it comes to blush. However, with this one, it is so light. It is not pigmented at all. I can't see anything on my face. If it's anything, it'll probably look like it's like chalk on my face because it just makes me look much more paler. So unfortunately, this is like a no-no for me. So hence why I decided to go back to the eyeshadow palette and use this blush shade to actually apply this on my face. This is the Peripera Pure Glory highlighter in number 1 Day Glory. This one actually came in like this massive box, and I don't know where the box is. I don't know what happened to it, and it actually came with like a little like fan brush, and again it has disappeared. I'm not sure where. My son must have taken it, I must have chucked it out, but I remember using that fan brush, and that fan brush is like useless, guys. Okay, so you're not missing out if you're not getting the fan brush. But with this one here, this beautiful champagne gold highlighter is so pretty. Like, look how reflective this is. Like, I'm actually very impressed with this highlighter. I love highlighters, so I'm very impressed with this, and I can see myself using this many times. But yeah, like I mentioned before, I didn't have a highlighter brush from jessup to use it, so I just used one of my good old highlighter brush from, I think, Real Technique to apply this, and it's so pretty, guys. So pretty. Last but not least is a lip product, and this one is not that new. It was released last year, and this is the Peripera Ink Airy Velvet in number 25. So this is probably the latest color in the Ink Airy Velvet. Maybe, I could be wrong, but they had like collection 21 to 25, which I will do a review, guys, don't worry, but it will come a bit later on. And so this is what it looks like on my lips. It's a very beautiful coral pink shade, which is like perfect for spring. I just love how soft it feels on the lips. It does have a bit of a floral scent, but I love how pigmented, how comfortable it feels on the lips. And the best part, it does not emphasize my dry flakes on my lips, dry cracks, nothing. It just looked really smooth, and I absolutely love this. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Hopefully it's quick, and let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys have tried any of this. What are your current Peripera favorites right now? I would love to know. But yeah, I will see you guys on my next video. Bye, guys.